13 in the books. We're heading into the playoffs. We finally have it set. Everything is concrete in Super Liga. We are the Well-Mannered Cartel. I'm Tom.
I'm Mike.
I'm Marlon.
I'm Chris.
And oh man, dude, it came down to the wire. It came down to the last week. So many teams had a chance to make it into the playoffs, but now we have the picture set. We have everything set. The 6 teams that made it are solidified, but let's tell the story. Let's get into the Week 13 recap. Let's look at the Fire Division first. We're looking at Gridiron Throne, 210 points. The Bangkok Lady Boys is 152. You know, this isn't the way. I mean, Chris talked about it last week. You know, the Lady Boys, you know, kind of limping into the playoffs a little bit. He solidified his spot a few weeks ago, but I mean, this is what his third or second, you know, loss in a row. Is not looking as strong as he once was. Yeah. And Mike, you got the big victory. Tell us about it.
Yeah, man, I felt great. I really didn't expect the win at all. I was playing with kind of a sketchy team, but everything just went right for me. Baker Mayfield had a fucking amazing week. So did Jarvis Landry, Marvin Jones, Logan Thomas, McKissick, Brendan Ayuk. Fucking Vikings defense. Like everybody on my team put up points this week. I was looking through my season history because this was my best week by far. I scored 209.5 points. My two previous best weeks were there was 2 instances where I scored 164, and one of those weeks I won, and one of those weeks I lost. So this was just an amazing way to cap off my season.
Bro, Brandon Ayuk sans COVID is a fucking threat, bro.
Yeah.
He's fucking good, bro. Brandon Ayuk's coming out strong, bro. Yeah.
He's a problem, as they say.
He's a problem, as the kids say. Yeah, man. And Jarvis Landry having a fucking hell of a game, dude. That Browns first half was wild, bro. Baker Mayfield went off against the Titans. Who saw that shit coming, man? That was on another level. And yeah, dude, I mean, you know, the Bangkok Ladyboys didn't put up a bad score. I mean, it's not like they had a really bad week. They had maybe a subpar week to their standards, but I mean, 151, that's a solid score, you know? It's not like they were in no telling pussy of the week, contention or anything. Yeah. Rodgers had 30, Dalvin Cook had 33, Hopkins had a decent game, 19, Ridley with 25. I mean, his guys scored. You know, Clyde Edwards-Helaire goosed him, but that was, you know, who could have called that? Nobody really knew that he was going to be active for the game, but not really play because of his illness throughout the week. So that was kind of a tough spot for him to be in. But yeah, man, your team just went off.
I had Logan Thomas with 98 yards and Brandon Ayuk with 95 yards, so they were both really close to the bonuses. So
a big blowout.
Yeah, I may have squandered the big cock on the block this week.
Big cock, yeah, very close.
Yeah,
it's you look at the Lady Boys' squad. Rodgers put up 30.5, Dalvin Cook 33.9, Hopkins 19.2, Calvin Ridley 25.8. You look at those numbers, man, and you're like, this guy probably wins the game. But, you know, Mike just had a big win. And then, you know, Hooper only had 4 points. Like you said, Edwards-Helaire goosed him. And so I think that was just the culprit of him, you know, falling this week. But this game really had no bearing on the playoffs
gave me
all.
My 4th win of the season. 3 of my 4 wins came against, the top three teams. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, man, when it pours, it rains, homie.
Something to hang my hat on.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah, that's a good one. Gridiron Throne ends it 4-9 on the year. Rest in peace. We'll go to the graveyard a little bit later. Bangkok Ladyboys falls to 9-4, but he still has that bye in the playoffs. The next matchup in the Fire Division is Flint Tropics 105, Coulon Santo. 176, another strong finish by one of our own who had a rough start to the season. But I feel like both of you guys started picking it up these last few weeks, man. Like y'all's teams just started clicking.
I had a decent start, and then everything just started going to shit towards the middle with COVID and with injuries. George Kittle getting injured. He's being out. then he comes back, plays 2 games or something, and then he's out for the rest of the year. Like that was heartbreaking, and I was just trying to scramble a squad together because yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean that's
The whole
it's badass that you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
the whole what's it got? The Jesus Christ was his name? He got traded from Jacksonville to Tampa Bay.
Nick Foles?
Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, we're blanking on Leonard Fournette also getting traded after I had drafted him, and I was just like, damn. I had to.
That was a bad omen.
Yeah.
That was a bad omen for the year, man. Yeah, but it's good that both of you guys ended on a high streak. 5-8, dude. And putting up big scores too. Putting up big scores in these last 2 weeks for the both of you.
Yeah.
Marlon and Mike with your squads, but Marlon, 175, man. That's a fucking legit score. Where was this team all year, right? Fucking Kenyon Drake, only 13 points, but fuck, he was averaging like 3 or 4 points in the beginning of the season. And then
he had
Cooper, dude. Yeah.
I was going to just add that Kenyon Drake, the 2 weeks prior to this one, was putting up like 25, 33. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Where was that guy?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Where was that?
And Marlon, you said something about Leonard Fournette, and it just made me think. Has there ever been a season where like first round picks were as irrelevant to the season as they were this year? Like maybe between injuries and COVID and all that, it just made everything so weird this year with our first round picks.
I picked,
and you know what my problem was that I held on to my first round picks too long before trading them. Like I hesitated to trade them because I little by little they were like.
I lost Saquon like in week 2, something like that.
Yeah,
I picked.
For me, it was Kyler. It was Amari
Devontae
Cooper and Devontae Adams and Stephon Diggs, but and Leonard Fournette. And Leonard Fournette got traded. George Kittle got injured. Then Dak went down, so Amari's numbers went to the floor. So really, I just had Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Kyler Murray, and that's not enough to carry a whole team.
Yeah. First pick, I picked CEH, and he goosed Bangkok Ladyboys this.
Bro, that trade was cursed. I'm telling you,
it was, man.
Zeke, bro. Zeke was my first round pick, and ever since Dak went down and the offensive line went to shit, he's been mediocre, man. Below mediocre. He's been subpar. So I mean, I think the first round. Very few hits in the first round. I mean, I think Derrick Henry went in the first round, and I think we might have criticized that move in the beginning of the season. I remember we weren't very big fans of Derrick Henry going in the first round, but what the fuck do we know? That guy went fucking off.
And Dalvin Cook too. We were pretty low on Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, man. But so it was a wild year. You're right for the first round pick.
But anyhow, let's get back into this matchup, man. Flint Tropics only puts up 105, and that's the story of his season, the second part of the season. He just couldn't get it together. He's been having to start Philip Lindsay, who scored 2.6 points for him. Terry McLaurin, 3.4 points. Ryan Tannehill had the bulk of his points with 44.5. So, just you hate to see Flint fall like that. He was a great team last year, and he started off strong this year, but then it just kind of went sideways after injuries. But Marlon's team, man, again, finishing on a strong note. I mean, what else? You got anything else to say, Marlon? This game also didn't really have much of a, no bearing on the playoffs, but it
was more a matter of pride. I just wanted to go
for sure
out on an upswing.
Definitely.
But the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight.
It's
enough the challenge of our rivals. But rest in peace, Monsanto, and rest in peace, Flint Tropics. Now we're heading over to the Win Division. Over Easy falls 111 to Bad Hombres 143. Over Easy losing streak going into the playoffs. Bad Hombres getting that bye after all. Chris.
Man, it was a fucking close one, boys. It was a fucking close one. I was sweating it out. I mean, my team was really underperforming.
All over the place.
Yeah, it was back and forth. I know we were both a little unlucky. I mean, the fantasy gods smiled on me last week with Derrick Henry only getting 4.9 points. I mean, how does that happen? That really kept me in the game. Derrick Henry, under 5 points for the week. What really did it though, that Aaron Jones 77-yard touch, that was like a 26-point play, dude. That was a huge swing at the end of that game, and that put me up, I think 10 points after that. So I really needed that run. What kept this a lot closer was my IDP actually got hurt in warmups, and there was no. I always check at 11:55. I check my fantasy lineups to make sure I don't have any zeros or any last minute injuries. And I was checking my lineups, and everything was good. Nobody was, I had no zeros. Nobody was out. Nobody got hurt. But I guess the news just did. I mean, who covers news for IDPs? Like, it's not a really popular breaking news, story for fantasy purposes. So none of the fantasy sites or any of the people that I follow really picked up on it. So it was kind of shitty because he didn't play a single snap, man. He got hurt in warmups and was pretty much out. But he was listed as active, so there was no way that I could replace him unless I was watching the game, and I wasn't. I don't even think they were showing it in my area. So, but yeah, man, that kind of that goose from the IDP really made things interesting. But like I said, Derrick Henry not really performing. Hayden Hurst only getting 1.9 points. And Kareem Hunt really taking the backseat to Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
kind of that's kind of what got me the win this week.
Yeah, and then after the intense rivalry all season, you ended up with the 2-game lead over Haley for the division. So
yeah, it was
good ending for you.
You're talking about Kareem Hunt, and I know she was contemplating playing Gallman instead of Kareem Hunt, and she actually ended up going with Kareem Hunt. And she asked me my input, and I was like, I don't know, it's tough because Kareem Hunt is splitting with Chubb. Gallman's the main guy in New York, so I was like, I don't know. I was like, just stick with your man. I told her, like, just go with Hunt. She's like, yeah, I'm feeling Hunt too, but she thought about perhaps playing Gallman, and she didn't. And so even if she would have lost by a lot smaller of a margin, but yeah.
Once Kelsey had the big game that he had on I guess it was Monday night. It was, he put up 37 points. That put like a 30 or 40 point cushion between me and her, and then that was curtains. But yeah, man, with that decision that she had to make, like, I understand. It's like that saying, you gotta dance with who brung you. You know what I mean? You gotta dance with whoever brought you to the dance, dude. And that's she's been riding Kareem Hunt, and he's been performing well. But I think I heard this stat where, like, ever since Nick Chubb's come back, Kareem Hunt hasn't been an RB2. Like, he's been below the top 24 and running backs. And that wasn't the case earlier in the year, though. Like, earlier in the year, they were both producing equally at the same time when they were playing.
I think when he did perform was that first game Chubb came back, because when they played the Texans, and Chubb had over 25 points, I think. So but that was probably them easing Chubb back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he had such a big game that week. But yeah, since then it's just been kind of lackluster.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Chris ends at 9-4. Yeah, Umbra's 9-4, and Over Easy 7-6. 2 playoff teams. But you
might
said,
meet again. We're 1-1. We're 1-1. Yeah, you never know. We're 1-1 for the season. We could definitely run it back.
Tiebreaker.
It can happen.
Yeah, man. So both of them looking good into the playoffs. We'll see how Over Easy will play this week. We'll see how she fares this week. But the next matchup in the Win division, which had massive playoff implications, was Crossfaded beating Peaky Blindside 158 to 126. If Peaky wins, he's in. If Peaky won, he was in, no matter what. Couldn't ruin it. The amount of points he scored throughout the year was huge. He had that close to 300-point game last week. So if he would have won, he would have been in, no questions asked. But X-Faded comes in with a big victory. Peaky underperforms, keeps him out of the playoffs, and he sends – if Peaky wins, then Over Easy who makes it, Las Vegas who makes it, Dem Lions who makes it. You don't know. That's in limbo, man, because that just depends on a whole bunch of other scenarios, man. But
Crossfaded had nothing to play for but pride, and boy, they played for pride.
Man. Yeah, man. He definitely he stepped up, man. His guys performed. I mean, Deontay Johnson, 21 points. Ben Roethlisberger, 34. Alvin Kamara finally has a decent game with Taysom Hill at quarterback, 17 points. And then Melvin Gordon, man, he had 131 yards on 15 carries, 26 points. That was a huge game for Melvin Gordon. And yeah, man, I mean, everybody just kind of did their jobs on his squad. Keenan Allen underperformed, only 9.8 points, but really, other than that, Sammy Watkins was 7 points. But yeah, man, 158. That's you know, it's funny with Crossfaded because I feel like he's been scoring 158 all year, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
all season he's been scoring 158. You know,
158 or like 105.
But like mostly it's been 158. I think he had a couple stinkers, but dude, he's been putting up, you know, pretty decent scores all, you know, week in and week out. And that's what happens, man. You can't come with a subpar performance, and that's what happened with the Peaky Blindside. He kind of picked a bad week to have a bad week with only 125 points, man.
Which brings up the point, I think, before the season started in the chat. I know Peaky was chirping a little bit, and Chris, you were chirping back, and you're like, "Hey, man, in this league, you got to finish your chances." And you know what?
Chances, baby.
He didn't finish he squandered it.
He squandered it, bro. I mean, it really is. I mean, and I know, you know, you can't, you know, I know tight end is thin, bro, but you can't start Kyle Rudolph and you can't get a fucking goose egg, bro. You can't do that when the playoffs are on the line and you're going up against Crossfaded, who's got a squad on him. You know, it's hard, man, but it was, you know, it is what it is, man. You know, he put up a decent fight, man. He started off 0-3. He got himself in the playoff hunt. He was close. I mean, he came close. He almost made it. He almost stuck into the playoffs, but now he knows, man. I'm sure, you know, if he comes back next season, I'm sure he's gonna be well aware of how the league is and how competitive it is, and he'll come back stronger. But man, 125 and when you need a win and get in, it just wasn't going to cut it.
And it's just a reflection of like how tough that division was. Your division, Chris, the win division, is just, you know, that
competitive.
It was super competitive, and it came down to that last week, and you know, some dreams were erased.
For sure.
But rest in peace, Crossfaded. Rest in peace, Peaky Blindside. We'll move over to the Earth division. Dem Lions 149 gets the victory over Las Vegas United 138.
Close game, bro. Close fucking week.
It was close, man. The big one for me was Herbert putting up 2.3 points. He threw 2 picks, and he just couldn't get it done against New England. So that's kind of what happens against the Patriots sometimes. You know, they're pretty stingy against rookie quarterbacks. The good thing is he has pretty good matchups from here on out.
Yeah.
But
bro, I don't know what's more surprising, like Herbert getting 2.3 points or fucking Matthew Stafford dropping a 50 burger, bro. What's more surprising, man? Against Chicago.
I felt really comfortable, man, because I saw Stafford. It wasn't until late in the fourth quarter where he actually got that final bonus, man. He got that last 150 yards like pretty quickly. And really? Dude, when Stafford dropped that 50 bomb, I was a little bit worried. And I was like, well, you know, I still got Herbert. He can go out, give me 25, 30 points. I'll be okay. That didn't happen.
And that's
but the good news is the rest of my team performed. And Herbert, I don't think he's going to score 2 points this week. Montgomery, again, another solid showing with 27 points. Devontae Adams did his thing, 45 points. Julio Jones, a Julio Jones, 15 points. Dallas Goedert, 12.6. I started J.K. Dobbins. He only scored me 13 points. And I had Jonathan Taylor on the bench, who would have given me 22 and a half. So that's that, man. But, overall, I'm not – once it looked like Peaky Blindside was certainly out, I knew that I was in no matter what. So I was, I was more relaxed at that time.
Yeah, breathing easy.
For sure. But, I know Dem Lions was getting nervous that Tuesday night game, right? He was texting me. He's like, man, J.K. Dobbins, he looks good when he gets the ball, man. You're only 10 points back. I'm getting nervous because if I would have beaten Dem Lions, then Peaky, we would have gone to that same scenario we had last week.
Right.
Dem Lions and the Fornicators. Yeah, and the Fornicators, because all three of them would have lost, and one of them would have had to have gone in, and they probably would have been Peaky because of the points scored. But, Dem Lions, again, man, finds a way to win and finds a way to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Bro, I buried his ass last week. I was like, there's going to be no repeat. He's going to miss the playoffs. I was first. I thought your team was going to blow him out, bro. I fucking buried his ass. And there he comes, bro, like the Undertaker gift, bro, from the dead. It's fucking, whoa.
He actually messaged me and told me to tell you. He's like, bro, tell him I ain't dead yet. He's like, tell him them lines ain't happening. So yeah, man. Thielen had a good game, 21.5. Of course, Stafford with that 54-point game. Hawkinson, solid. Henry Ruggs, man, I saw him. He put him in like last minute, scored 17.4 for him. And then everybody else just kind of did their thing a little bit. Miles Sanders was the only one who really disappointed with only 3 points. But Dem Lions finds himself in the playoffs. Las Vegas, myself, into the playoffs, both at 7 and 6. So those two teams are continuing on. And let's have a look at the final match of the year, the regular season. DeFornicators 116, cross-faded. Vino Poppy 158.
And Josh Allen, dude. Josh Allen throwing for 4 touchdowns, 375 yards. 25 yards off of a fucking monster game. He could have had 60-something probably with that freaking bonus at 400 yards, I think.
Yeah.
But I messed up on the score. My bad. It was
235.
35 points.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I wrote it
I was
down
confused
wrong.
Yeah,
No,
he had a monster.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Bro, and then Darren Waller with 65 fucking points from the tight end position. What did he get? 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and like
Dude, where did that come
13 catches. 13 catches. I have no clue, bro. That's a record game. I mean, it happened against the Jets. Yeah, that's how it happens. Man, how
Michael
about
Thomas,
that fucking yeah, Michael Thomas also having a good game, you're right. DK having a below average game with just 13 points. But James Robinson, he's always solid, man, 22 points. And Diggs with 19. Yeah, man. I mean, that's how you get to 235, man. You guys just ball out like that.
Yeah.
Dude, going back to that Raiders game in Jacksonville, that freaking that bomb that Derek Carr threw to win the fucking game, man, that was insane. I can't believe that the freaking the Jets, they blitzed on that play and they just gave up a freaking Hail Mary. Like they were trying to tank, that game was wild.
Fucking Greg Williams got himself fired.
Yeah, he got himself fired, but that's how I guess because Henry Ruggs caught that, right? So that's how them Lions got that decent score.
Yeah.
It was Henry Ruggs that caught that touchdown. I know going back to the last game, but yeah, dude, that was just a wild ending, dude. But yeah, for the Fornicators, Patrick Mahomes puts up a decent score, but that's about it, man.
He didn't check his roster before the game. Josh Jacobs, who he started, was out.
Oh, yeah.
I texted him like as soon as the game started. I think it must have been like 12:05. The game started at 12, and he was like, he sent me the little emoji, like
shrug.
He's like, fuck, man, oh well. And he had a chance to make it into the playoffs, and I guess just for whatever reason didn't check his squad, but.
Yeah, it was a little unlucky because I know Gibson got hurt early too. Only got him 1.4 points. Gibson, the running back for Washington. So that would have been hard to overcome anyway. So I mean, I think we can take solace in the fact that Vino Poppy put up 235. He didn't matter what.
There's it doesn't matter. He would have lost either way. So the Fornicators finishes the year 6-7, narrowly missing the playoffs. Vino Poppy sitting tight, sitting strong. He plays this week. He finishes the year at 8-5. So that is the year, man. That's the regular season. So before we head over to Chris's Corner, let's just walk through this graveyard. Let's pay our respects to the teams that have fallen. Gridiron Throne, Crossfaded, the Fornicators, Flint Tropic, Tiki Blindside, and Edward Monsanto.
Man,
may you rest in peace.
Yeah,
may you resurrect stronger next season.
Dude, this moment has haunted me this whole season. There was a moment in week 8, week 9, when Jose texted me, bro, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'll give you Kelsey if you give me Kittle and Robbie Anderson." I had just gotten done a trade, and I thought about it. And I was like, no, man, like George Kittle's is gonna come back after and he did, and then he got injured again. But I wonder like how
man.
because
What
he
ifs? The what
traded
ifs?
with you, and like how
Yeah.
different this season would have gone had I
Yeah.
gone with that, because
It's
he
the
traded.
butterfly effect, man. You never know.
Yeah, he traded with me.
He traded with you,
Yeah.
most of his squad, and at
Most
that
of
point
his
it would have been
Yeah.
Sands.
No, I would have done a similar deal with you for Kyler and for Travis Kelce, because Kyler was coming on strong too. So we could have, and with Diggs, we could have did a nasty deal between us two.
I was scrambling. I mean, I think about like how different the season would have been, because at that point I had been on a what 2 or 3 week losing streak by that point. But
yeah. Mike, how about you? You man, any last words?
Let's
Any regrets?
Let's look forward to next year.
All right, guys. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, Florida we'll see y'all next year. Chris's corner.
Hey, who the fuck is that guy? T.Y. Don't call me Ty Johnson. 104 yards, 1 touchdown.
Bro, I thought you were going to say T.Y. Hilton.
No, you wish, motherfucker. You wish. Running back for the Jets, Frank Gore, 55-year-old Frank Gore went down early in the Jets game against the Raiders, and he was replaced by T.Y. Johnson. And, 104 yards, a touchdown, 29.7 points. I think he's still on the waiver wire. I think Frank Gore is going to miss another week, so if anybody needs a running back, if I can pick him up, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll repeat. Probably not. The squanderer this week, our very own Las Vegas United. I'm glad it didn't keep you out of the playoffs. So you're still good, but it would have sucked if it kept you out of the playoffs. Yeah, it would have been a little sketchy. If you would have played Kiki Cutesy over Devontae Parker, that would have gotten you the victory, I think. Kiki Cutesy, I think, had 33 points. Had a monster game.
I picked him up off of waivers last week after Will Fuller got popped, and I'm happy to see that he's actually getting those targets. So.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I think he got like 9. I think he caught 9 balls, man. I think he was getting targeted frequently. I know it's hard to start him over Devontae Parker, but we know Devontae Parker with Fitzmagic and Devontae Parker with Tua is a little different. Tua got the start that week, and only put up 7 points. So it'll be interesting to see what you do in the first round. See if Kiki ends up in your starting lineup or not. We'll see. But we can get to that whenever we get to the matchups. The bet shitters this week, there were a couple. Kyle Rudolph, 0 points. Goose egged the Peaky Blindside, and probably cost him the playoff spot. Derrick Henry only getting 4.9 points for over easy, and I'm pretty sure. I mean that if Derrick Henry has. Yeah, if Derrick Henry has a Derrick Henry game, I'm sure she wins that game, that matchup against myself, and she probably has a first-round bye. So that Derrick Henry score for her was very untimely. And then Justin Herbert, obviously 2.3 points. He was riding high, man. He was having monster week after monster week, and I think we can just chalk it up to Bill Belichick going up against a rookie. You know what I mean? That's what happens, man. And like you said, fortunately for Herbert, he's not going to have to play against Bill Belichick again this year. So he should be fine.
I cross my fingers and hope for a really good rebound game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen. The no talent pussy this week, Flint Tropics. I think this is 2 weeks in a row for him. 105.26. I think so. I think he was the no talent pussy last week.
I think he didn't even break 100 last week, right?
I don't think he broke 100. Yeah. 105.26 points. No talent pussy. And we're gonna pour him out for one man and one man only. The number one pick in most drafts, Christian McCaffrey, tweaked his quad in practice last week, and he still has the bum shoulder. He missed 6 games earlier on in the season, and then he came back for a game, and then now he's missed another 4 games, and I'm sure they're probably gonna shut him down for the rest of the year.
Let that be a lesson to let that be a lesson to every NFL player not to do any sort of magazine photo shoot before a season, talking about how great your season's gonna be.
And this kind of coincides
Jesus.
coincides with the no talent pussy because Flint Tropics had Christian
Oh,
McCaffrey,
yeah.
and I'm sure
You're
if he
right.
has him healthy, his season looks a lot different.
Oh yeah, there is a correlation there for sure. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey, man, R.I.P. And then finally, the big cock on the block, Vino Papi with 235 points. He didn't get a bye this week. This week in the playoffs, but he did get the biggest score going into the playoffs. So I'm sure he's riding high and feeling good about his matchup in the first week of the fantasy playoffs. So that's it, boys. That's it for those segments.
So now let's have a look at round one of the playoffs. The first matchup is an intra-household matchup. It is bum 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 bum.
Hey, what other league could you have brother against brother, husband against wife?
So it's Las Vegas United versus Over Easy. That's me versus my wife. We didn't play this year in the regular season, but we're playing each other now, which is probably the most important game for each of our teams thus far. And we're super uber competitive. It's going to be a rough Sunday, I think. Both me and my wife are very, very competitive, and we will talk a lot of shit and we will frustrate each other, I'm sure. And that's the way it was last year.
She makes you a steak, you might have to pull a Michael Scott and stick it in a bottle of wine.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's going to be a close matchup by the looks of it. Let's dig into it a little bit. Let's see what it looks like on paper.
I think the key here is, David Montgomery these last 2 weeks, he's been able to take advantage of those cake matchups, and he's got the cakiest of cake matchups this week as far as stopping the running game. Houston's been not as bad as the Cowboys, but they've been pretty damn close as far as stopping the run. They're right there. So David Montgomery, we know he's proven it 2 weeks in a row. He can take advantage of an easy matchup, and he's got another easy matchup coming up. Can he keep pace with Derrick Henry against the Jags? Derrick Henry coming off of a bad game, but he's got Jacksonville. I mean, if David Montgomery can keep it close, man, with Derrick Henry, I don't know how Over Easy wins this week. If those two scores are anywhere near each other, I think the rest of your squad is stronger than hers. And so I think you can pull it out. I mean, I'm looking at Devontae Adams, I think he's on a 6-game touchdown streak, something like that, 5 or 6 games. And Tyler Lockett, who's been underperforming. I mean, he's facing the Jets, but still, he's been a shell of himself these last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Julio Jones, man, is he going to play?
He didn't practice today, but it was similar last week. He didn't really practice throughout the week, and he just kind of played on game day. Either way, I'm not expecting like a monster game from him. So I'm not sure, man. If he plays, he plays. You have to play him. If he doesn't, then I'll have to figure it out.
Yeah. When I checked this last night, it looked like it was going to be much more lopsided in your favor, Tom. I don't know if Haley made some adjustments to her roster or
she put Gallman in, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a much more of a toss up than it did last night. So I was predicting you to win, and I think I still am, but this one really could go either way.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think about Devontae Parker? Are you going to keep him in there? Or are you leaning kind of towards Kiki?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Flex positions, I typically wait for the last minute to kind of make a decision on.
Make a decision.
I don't like his matchup against KC too much. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to put QT in because he's going up against Chicago, and they are tough against receivers. And so it's just kind of like a toss-up for me. Tight end, the same thing, man. I don't know if I'm going to start Fant or Goddard. I know Goddard hasn't been back this week.
You also have Williams on the bench.
who's playing Atlanta, but
Ooh.
he's very much kind of hot and cold, man. So he's either going to score you 20 plus or he's going to score you 4. So it's just I do have some decisions to make. My lineup is not set yet. So yeah, man, I think Haley's pretty much is though, unless she just start Crowder.
You know that Kyler Murray against the Giants. The Giants these last 4 or 5 weeks have been coming on strong. God bless you.
Played well against Russell.
They're taking the division. They're taking the division.
and Kyler, we know he's been a little banged up as far as his shoulder. He hasn't been himself in the last couple of weeks. So I wonder if Kyler can get healthy enough to do damage against the Giants, or if he's still banged up. If he's still banged up, the Giants are probably going to, keep him under wraps, man. Keep him under control.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one, man. Like a lot of it is contingent whether or not Kyler Murray is going to be Kyler Murray, or he's still going to be kind of, hobbling around. But, she has really, really juicy matchups with Derrick Henry against Jacksonville. Tyler Lockett hasn't been himself, but you saw, what the tight end did to him last week. So Tyler Lockett, he just needs a few targets, and he can be on his horse and on his way into the end zone a couple of times. And then she has Robbie Anderson playing against Denver. With DJ Moore out, that boosts his targets up for sure, the target share on that squad. So she definitely has some really, really good matchups. Chris Carson against the Jets also. I think it's going to be really close. I gotta go all in on over easy. I gotta go all in on over easy. She's over here.
There you go.
But I have a couple of juicy matchups myself. But
we'll see.
It'll be close.
We'll see.
Yeah, man. I know you're going to go in on over easy, but, I see Justin Herbert against Atlanta. I see Montgomery against Houston and Adams against Detroit, dude. And it's hard to pick against you when those matchups are that good for the guys in your squad. So I think it's going to be a close one. And as much as I'd like to see over easy in the playoffs and break that tiebreaker, I don't know if she's going to get out of the first round against you, man. So I'm going to pick Las Vegas United to go on to the semifinals of the playoffs.
Marley,
yeah. I think Tom, you're gonna get this. It's gonna be really close, but I like your squad better overall. Yeah. If I had to put money on it, I'd put my money on you.
There we go. 2-1, Mike.
I picked Tom this week too.
It's 3-1.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's the first. I went all in. That's the first quarterfinal matchup. On the other side of the bracket, we have Vino Poppy against Dem Lions. I do not have helmets for them. I'm sorry. But this is a juicy one, man. Dem Lions barely making it in, and Vino Poppy's just putting up, a monster score at the end. He turned his season around. Whenever he traded with Chris,
I was gonna say that trade worked out to Vino's benefit, definitely.
Oh yeah, man. He's definitely benefiting from Josh Allen kind of resurrecting in the last couple of weeks, man, doing way better than he was. I know he was on a little downslope there for about a month, and then I know this last week for sure he had a monster game.
He does have Pittsburgh this week, though.
He does have Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's cornerbacks are banged up, man. I think they've got 1 or 2 corners that are questionable for the game, and so if those guys miss, then Allen's going to be throwing the backup corners. He's going to be throwing against backup corners, so he could take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how they play after a loss, man, because they just came off their first loss of the season. I don't know if they're going to come out much stronger, or they're going to be a little. Right? Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know, maybe they it affects the rest of their season. I don't know how, but me.
Bro, but I'm looking at dude, them Lions. I know I buried them last week, man. But I'm looking at the matchups here, and we're recording this on Thursday. Thursday, and the Rams are currently the Rams are currently playing the Patriots, and it says here that they've scored 18 points so far. As far as the DST, that's a pretty badass score from DST, and it looks like it's tightening. It's tightening the projections a little bit.
They've got an interception and a touchdown right now, and that Rams D is no joke. That Patriots offense isn't great, so you don't know what the score is going to look at the end of the game. But right now,
that could be a 30. That could be a 30 by the time we're done. I don't know, and that changes it all up. And, as much as I know I buried him last week, but fuck, I'm rooting for him this week, bro, because Vino's got a squad on him, and man, it would be fucking wild if them Lions got to the semis, right? Wouldn't it freak us out? We'd be like, what the fuck? We've been counting this guy out all year, and here he is. Fuck, it's like he would, man. He would.
These are both former champions, aren't they?
Both former champs. They've got pedigree.
1, 2, 3. We've got 3 former champions in the playoffs right now. Half of the playoff teams are the previous champions. So then,
hey, bro, yeah, we might have our first champ of our history. The first champ is on the line.
Two time,
baby. Oh, and I want it bad. I want to be the first one to go to. You know what I mean? You want 2 trophies. You want 2 of them. But yeah, dude. Like, I'm looking at the squads and I'm trying to be, as honest as possible. But like, I don't know how Vino Poppy loses this, man. I mean,
I agree.
He's got Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, Darren Waller. Claypool's been a little bit shitty these last couple of weeks, but he's got Stephon Diggs. Like, I'm rooting hard for them Lions, man. And he had an upset last week. He pulled off the upset last week. Can he make it 2 upsets in a row? I'm not too sure. I mean, he's off to a good start so far, but I'm gonna have to go Vino, man. But I'm rooting for them Lions, bro. I want chaos, and them Lions being in the semis is fucking chaos, bro. I want them in there.
Yeah, man. I think he's got DeAndre Swift. He's been missing, some time, but if he has Swift back this week against Green Bay, and if he can make some noise, man, this game might be close, man. Juju against Buffalo, I don't know about that matchup, but and Thielen against Tampa Bay. But I think it's going to be close, man. I don't think you make it into the playoffs and just lay an egg, right?
We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, I think I'm also going to have to give the edge to Vino Poppy, though. You're looking at his squad top to bottom, and it's just pretty darn solid. I'm not saying that 100% he's going to win, because them Lions, he's looking okay right now with that defensive score, and he's got some playmakers, but I'm going to go with Vino Poppy.
Same here. Marlon?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Vino's got. It's just hard to argue, man. He's got a monster squad on him. It's just, is Matt Stafford gonna have another Matt Stafford day, or is he gonna have an extraordinary day like he did last year?
Oh, hey, watch out! You're right. That's a good point, Marlon. That's a good point. Watch out for fucking anytime a head coach gets fired, the fucking offense goes off the next week. That's exactly what happened with Bob when Bill O'Brien got fired with the Texans. And, we got Matt Patricia out of there in Detroit. And all of a sudden, that offense is just taking off. And Matthew Stafford is slinging the fucking thing. And who knows, man? Maybe they do build on that and have another game, another monster performance. Marlon, you're right. I mean, Matthew Stafford can go off.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. So I'll put the screen up here. I'll make the screen. We're gonna track the predictions of the playoffs. Maybe next year we'll just start doing it for every game, and we can have a record for our predictions throughout the season. But I think, Mike, you had a bold prediction. You wanted to predict the 2 finalists.
Yeah. I was just looking at the playoff brackets. I was predicting Tom and Chris, you guys, to make it to the final and play each other for the final.
Man,
final week of the season.
That would be crazy, man. That would be wild.
That would be fitting.
Yeah. Hey, if that's the case, are we recording an episode for that, or?
Yeah. We might have to do it live.
Sort of trophy.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll fucking live stream it, bro. The final, hopefully, what if it comes down like to the final Monday night game or something? We're gonna have to fucking live stream that, dude. Live stream our reactions. We'll have to see who's playing. But yeah, dude.
Oh, breaking news. Sorry, guys. Breaking news. Superliga next year will be transitioning into a dynasty league. We talked about this, I think, a little bit before the season started, and as the season progressed, we kind of talked about it more in depth. I've talked to a lot of people that have been in the league for a long time. I know, like, the regulars, the teams that have been established. And I think we're going to proceed with the league next year being a dynasty league. And so next year we will have a draft just like we do every year. And we can do it at my place. We got a new place. We're going to do it. Hopefully, if God willing, everything's back to normal. We can start, seeing each other in person again. We'll have a legit draft. But it's a draft that will lock your roster for the foreseeable future. You can make trades and stuff like that, but it's going to be completely different in terms of strategy and tactics for drafting and for trading, because everything is so long term, right? And so I think that's why we're going to make that move. We've had a stable group of teams and managers in this league for the last 5 years. We only had one switch this year. We only had one switch last year, so there's not a whole lot of turnover. And so I think it's just kind of like, a good move for us. I think it's going to make things a little bit more interesting, and you can take pride in your squad. And those are going to be your guys for the future. It's not just one and done in a year. And so, let's talk about how y'all are feeling about that.
Hey, dude, we're taking the next step in our relationship, bro. Now we're a lot more committed now, bro. This is a multi-year thing. If you're afraid of commitment, don't sign up for fucking, don't sign up for it if you're afraid of commitment.
I talked to a lot of people, and if you guys are watching this and you're not down to do it for whatever reason, it won't, hurt our feelings. We get it. We do have a small list of people who would love to join the league, but we're welcoming everybody back next year. But if you want to leave for whatever reason, just let us know. If you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll try to get with you. Chris brought up a valid point earlier about us making bylaws, and in terms of like people trying to tank and not playing players. We just have to have certain rules in place because it's going to be a different kind of league now.
Right. Yeah, man, I think it's exciting. I've never done a dynasty league, but I think it's like the natural progression of things. That we've all been playing fantasy football for a few years now, and we've gotten a lot more into it. It's gotten a lot more serious, I think, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we have some
and we're a lot
history.
more invested. We have some history now, and like we want to it was just the next step, man. It was just, it's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait. You definitely do take more of more pride into your team. You're more emotionally invested in every single player that you draft. It's not just a 1 year thing.
Yeah.
And it's also gives you hope for years to come. Like Mike, you drafted Saquon. Like, yeah, it sucks that he's out this season, but you still got him next year. You know what I mean? You still got him on your squad. He's still a badass player, and he's going to come back, and hopefully he comes back strong. And so those are the kind of things that you could look forward to when you're in these fantasy leagues. And so I just can't wait to hopefully have a good draft. I know the draft strategy is going to change. There's going to probably be more of a premium on the younger players, but still, man, it's just going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. And I can't fucking wait, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah. And I was talking about it earlier, whenever we were talking about it, it's kind of like you have your own little franchise. You own a little franchise, and the way you do business, you can conduct business in terms of like win now. Like you're making trades, you can trade your young players to get that trophy, to get that prize money, that 1 year. You can be in win now mode, or you can build for the future, which is kind of crazy, which is completely different than the way we've been doing things.
This thought just popped into my head, but we can add an award for the Bill O'Brien Award for the worst general manager.
The Bob Award. The Bob Award.
Bro, yeah, I think we should start, like, I know we talked about also covering trades, and I think we should, and now that we're transitioning over to doing dynasty, trades are way more impactful now. They're way more important, and so I think we should also cover trades more maybe next season, and when we're doing the Superliga podcast, and we should call the segment fleece or Deece. Like, did someone get fucking fleeced, or was it a decent trade? You know what I mean? Like, I think we can fucking discuss it and like break down trades and how they're gonna impact the teams long term, bro. Like, it's gonna be so much more analysis.
We call it mega or verga, bro. Is your team mega or they gave you that verga, bro?
Yeah, that's right. We'll figure it out.
That Fleece and Deece is good though. But yeah, with that said, like the trophy, everything Super League, everything here is just transitioning over that all the history that we had remains here. It's just from next year forward, it's going to be a dynasty league. And if we don't like it, say, a lot of people just don't like it after year 2 or year 3, we'll come back to a redraft. We'll have those conversations, but this is the right time for us to take the next step in our relationship, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're meeting the parents, baby. We're meeting the parents.
Sweet. All right, guys. That was the big one. We thought it would be the right time to break the news to the rest of the league. And with that said, we have playoffs this week. Good luck to everybody that's in the playoffs this week. There's only 4 teams playing this week. But good night, guys. Good luck.
Later.
Have a good one.
Later.